Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go around the NFL as we normally do with my top 5 thoughts. For week 5, around the NFL season, other games outside of the Philadelphia Eagles blowout this week that happened. A lot of interesting games coming down to the wire in the fourth quarter, going to overtime. So let's talk about some of them. Starting with number 5. The Atlanta Falcons stay undefeated after beating the Washington Redskins in overtime. What an exciting game that was. I mean, the Falcons were down for much of that game. For a while, it seemed, and then in the fourth quarter, a bit back and forth, the Falcons took a lead, 19-16, and then the Redskins quickly got a field goal to tie it and send it into overtime, in which the Falcons came out on top of getting a game-winning pick 6, 25-19 victory. Falcons stay undefeated. Redskins fall to 2-3, which certainly is crucial for helping the Eagles out, certainly. Now, Aaron Rodgers, in number 4 here. For the first time since 2012, that long streak of not throwing an interception ended. Rodgers threw 2 interceptions. Certainly the first one was a tipped ball that ended up in the hands of a Rams defender. So, I mean, even when Rodgers does finally throw that first interception home again, it's not even totally his fault. But nevertheless, Aaron Rodgers throwing 2 interceptions this game, and the Packers still come out on top, win this game 24-10. And I guess that is due in part to Nick Foles on the other side of the game of the Rams that happened to throw 4 interceptions. So, I guess Rodgers throws 2 interceptions. Yeah, and Nick Foles, I guess, says, I'll raise you 2 more, throw 4 interceptions. He took at one point in the game, he took an awful hit, and it was an ugly game for the Rams on offense, but 24-10, your final. Packers move to 5-0 and have a commanding lead already still have a commanding lead on the NFC North Division. Number 3, the Giants, who also now have taken a lead in the NFC East, of course, basically advancing over the Redskins and over the Dallas Cowboys after their losses this week, and of course, by default, being ahead of the Eagles,
interception. Now our
who were obviously 1-3 before beating the Saints. The Giants were in a nail-biter against the San Francisco 49ers, and essentially it was Eli Manning at his best at the end, clutch when he needed to be against the 49ers. The 49ers, they took a lead in the game, and Eli Manning, Odell Beckham Jr. was banged up in this game with a hamstring issue, but still, the Eli Manning was able to lead the Giants down the field, and essentially, it was an incredible catch that pretty much ended this game, and gave Larry Donnell, the tight end, incredible catch, and gave the Giants their 3rd straight victory, moving to 3-2 at the top of the NFC East as they come into Philadelphia to host the Philadelphia Eagles, who are once again going to be wearing all black uniforms as they did last year when they shut out the New York Giants 27-0. So, interesting scenario there heading into that game. Number 2, another night game thriller. The Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football win as Le'Veon Bell runs in the game-winning touchdown as time expires. Very important win for the Pittsburgh Steelers to, they're 2 games behind the Bengals leading that division now, but coming up big in the second half and winning this game 24-20. Michael Vick gets his first win now since starting for the injured Ben Roethlisberger on the Steelers. Big win for big win for Pittsburgh, obviously. Le'Veon Bell, another pretty solid day. 21 carries, 111 yards for a touchdown. And Antonio Gates, how about for the still a key option at tight end for the San Diego Chargers. 9 receptions, 92 yards for 2 touchdowns. Guy can still get it done. So number 1, I kind of just spoiled a little bit of it. The Cincinnati Bengals come back to beat the Seattle Seahawks. First of all, tying it and then sending it to overtime. And this moves them to 5-0 for the first time. The first time in a long time. Third time in franchise history. I mean, tempted to say first time. But yeah, I mean, I was watching this. And this is one of these games I had the Seahawks winning, too. I had the Bengals, getting their first loss of the season here. It's only so long that I feel like the Bengals can keep this up, and I thought this is the week they'd take their first loss. But no. They were down 24-7 for, heading into the fourth quarter of the game. And the Bengals put up 17 in the fourth quarter to tie it, send it in overtime, and then, of course, a game-winning field goal that hits the left upright and still goes through. Talk about a big win at home for the Cincinnati Bengals. They moved to 5-0. Now, how about this for Seattle? Marshawn Lynch, of course, was out once again this week. But Thomas Rawls, did anybody hear of this guy before? I know I didn't.
Who is this?
Well, Thomas Rawls, in place for the injured right now, beast mode Marshawn Lynch. Thomas Rawls had 23 carries for 169 yards and 1 touchdown. Talk about a field day. But they were not able to put the Bengals away. And talk about a crucial loss for the Seattle Seahawks, defending NFC champs. Now, they're still not out of it totally, and their division, certainly they can always rise up and perhaps be walk up, but still, I mean, that was a big win for the Cincinnati Bengals, moving to 5-0. However, they take on the Buffalo Bills this week, and I think that could be a spot, perhaps, where this, a spot for the Bills to get a win here against the Bengals and end this Bengals winning. I mean, it's one of these things. I mean, the Patriots, the Broncos, I mean, the way those teams are playing, just Tom Brady, of course. I mean, I don't know when they're going to lose their first game. I mean, that's the way I look at it. But the Bengals, it's like one of these things. I'm expecting them, sooner or later to lose a game. And they didn't yet, but maybe it's this week against the Buffalo Bills. I don't know. We'll see. Now, before we go to this week in NFL memes, week 5, once again for a go around. Just a couple interesting little tidbits. Now, the Patriots obviously convincingly beat coming off the bye, convincingly beat the Dallas Cowboys 30-6. After the game, obviously the injured Tony Romo in his sling, with the broken clavicle right now, went to shake hands with none other than quarterback of the New England Patriots, Tom Brady.
To me, those balls are perfect.
And if you Google this or whatever, you can Google it. I Googled a video of it. It's a little hard to hear though, because it's like somebody filming the TV screen and not picking up very good audio as a result. But Tony Romo, when he went to shake hands with Tom Brady, Tony Romo said, "I'll see you in February."
Oh my God!
Now, so it's one of those things. obviously Tony Romo, I guess, expecting Tom Brady and the New England Patriots to return to the Super Bowl once again, to Super Bowl 50. And quite frankly, I would not be surprised. As I've continued to say, this New England Patriots team, they're out on a tear. Brady, they're out on a tear. Bill Belichick, they're ticked off about this whole Deflategate thing and everything.
I've handled dozens of balls over the past week.
And, that couldn't be made more true when Tom Brady won his appeal, like I was not surprised would happen. And, Rob Gronkowski, guys are justice is served. And it just, the way they're playing, obviously, right out of the gate, first 4 games, I mean, it's one of these things where it looks like they're really out to prove that that Super Bowl victory, that Super Bowl run last year, that people, I guess, shouldn't deflate that. But anyhow, furthermore, they face the Colts this coming week, and perhaps Andrew Luck will be back for that game. But good luck against this New England Patriots team the way they're rolling right now. Although the Colts, they have won 3 straight, and with a banged up Andrew Luck not playing some of this time, so that's good out of them. But this Patriots team, they're on a tear this year, and Tony Romo, I mean, I guess he has confidence that his team himself are going to be there at Super Bowl 50 as well. Now, I don't know. That remains to be seen. First of all, the Cowboys, obviously, they can't let themselves get in too deep of a hole that, they can't, that they could even miss the playoffs altogether or fall so far behind that late in the season, when Tony Romo does come back, that it's going to be hard to, or nearly impossible to make the playoffs. I mean, it depends obviously how the Giants are playing, maybe how the Eagles are playing, maybe even how the Redskins are playing, if they are able to work some miracles. And, it could come down to a lot. It could come down to division records, head-to-heads, and this and that. Because 9-7 might win the division, and there might be, a couple, 3 teams in that range in this division towards the end of it, or 8-8, somewhere around there. So, obviously that's another factor into it. But if people have not been, ticked off at Tom Brady for all this Deflategate stuff and, stuff that I just thought was, obviously the NFL, and this was kind of as ruled as such in court, the NFL over-exercising their power and, I guess, manipulating the minds of many out there into this being such a big deal when the NFL had a really stupid, bad policy in place in the first place when it comes to the inflation of footballs. Apparently, Tom Brady is now receiving more heat from Coca-Cola and Frosted Flakes, and I guess, you want to throw Tony the Tiger in there as well. Because he defended, in an attempt to defend his controversial trainer and business partner in an interview with Boston Radio, WEEI, Tom Brady went off on a tangent against unhealthy food sold in America, calling out Coca-Cola, that a company that has actually employed him as a spokesperson, and Frosted Flakes. Now, this is like a maybe 40-minute interview or something, and it's not until about halfway when this part of the conversation comes up. But I mean, if by all means, if you want to listen to it, I guess go ahead and listen to it. But just I guess the cliff notes of this here. Tom Brady says, quote, you probably go out and drink Coca-Cola and think, oh yeah, that's no problem. Why? Because they pay lots of money for advertisements that think that you should drink Coca-Cola for a living. No, I totally disagree with that. And when people do that, I think that's quackery. And just the fact that they can sell that to kids, that's poison for kids. And yeah, once again, in 2007, Brady signed a deal with Coca-Cola to endorse Smart Water for the company's Glaceau unit. It's French, I have a tough time saying that. In a statement at the time, he said he was happy to promote it as an alternative to sugary drinks. Now, as for Frosted Flakes, and Tony the Tiger, I guess, Tom Brady said, "I think we've been lied to by a lot of food companies over the years, by a lot of beverage companies over the years, but we still do it. That's just America. And that's what we've been conditioned to," Brady said, before launching into probably his most interesting quote. "We believe that Frosted Flakes is a food," he continued. "You just keep eating those things and you keep wondering why you have just incredible rates of disease in our country." The brands quickly responded with statements to multiple media organizations saying that their products were just fine to consume. But yeah, I mean, how about Tom Brady there? You know, not holding back against Coca-Cola and Frosted Flakes. You know, they're calling them poison for kids. And
to me, those balls are perfect.
Tom Brady. I actually listened to it too. If you want to listen to it, and yeah, he kind of keeps rambling on about it. I mean, Tom Brady, like he's an advocate of like whole foods, and he says that contributes to why, you know, and his trainer, obviously, who he lauds, contributes to why he's 38 and he's still playing at an incredibly high level, and why, you know, why he said that recently that he still wants to play like another 7 years or so till he's essentially 45. So I mean, you know, take that for what it's worth, but you know, Tom Brady, a strong believer in whole foods, and you know, kind of calling Coca-Cola and Frosted Flakes as poison for kids. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been a soda drinker for years actually. So I mean, I kind of agree. I mean, not just Coca-Cola, but in general, I think soda, obviously, you know, not to take this into a health conversation here or whatever, but I kind of see what Tom Brady means. I mean, I don't know. With some cereals out there, I know some cereals are perhaps better for you than others. Frosted Flakes, maybe, that, you know, depending on what chemicals and whatnot that can be in there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't look into it in that much detail, but I think I kind of get what Tom Brady is saying. But taking a specific jab at Frosted Flakes, I don't know if you know, that probably does not come off too well for many people. I just think somebody owes us an explanation, that's all. And basically, everyone who eats Frosted Flakes or buys them in a grocery store. I don't know. But anyhow, let's move on, I guess, to just a couple interesting tidbits around the league this week. So figured I'd mention them. So, NFL memes of the week. Starting with Monday Night Football. And this one just a statement. Obviously, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers winning on a, you know, last play of the game touchdown run. This first one, just a simple statement. Pete Carroll thinks that the Steelers should have passed. Of course, there's a couple shots at Pete Carroll actually in this week, so, but we'll get to that. We'll get to those, I guess, as we go through here. Obviously, a shot at the Super Bowl play when pretty much at the goal line, the, you know, pass play instead of run for the Seattle Seahawks. Well, the Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers, they were able to pull it off this week, so that's pretty much that. Now, moving to Seattle territory, a picture of, I guess on NFL, you know, ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter, with the Seahawks logo and 2 and 3 next to it. Another shot at, you know, the Seattle Seahawks and fan base in general, or whoever. I guess Schefter supposedly in this meme saying, according to sources, bandwagon Seahawks fans could be meeting with new teams as early as today. Typical wordplay there by, on Adam Schefter. You can just picture the way he phrases it there, and I can kind of see where that's going, I guess. Now here's one with like a cart. It's a two-part. On top it has, I guess, Wolverine from obviously X-Men, wearing a San Francisco 49ers hat, and he appears to be holding a picture laying in a bed. And then at the bottom picture, he's got this, they show who was in the picture, and it's none other than Jim Harbaugh. So I guess, former head coach, I guess, with the 49ers out to a 1-4 start now and just kind of in shambles. Fourth straight loss. I don't know. I mean, 49er fans, are you missing Jim Harbaugh coaching your team out there now? Apparently the guy was just really hard to work with, and he was kind of, people called him a psycho and whatnot, and so I don't know. Now, here's one, a Sunday night football drinking game. It's just simply, instructions here. Take one shot whenever Chris Collinsworth annoyingly says, "Here's a guy." One sip if anyone mentions Odell Beckham and his catching abilities. One shot if a DraftKings or FanDuel commercial comes on. And finally, shotgun beer every time the 49ers remind us of how much they suck. So, yeah, I mean, I like the Chris Collinsworth take one shot every time he says, "Here's a guy." And now Collinsworth and Al Michaels, I mean, I think they're a great commentary team. I mean, Collinsworth takes a lot of heat for being annoying, I guess, in his voice, but I think he's fine. Obviously, Al Michaels is, great in of himself. So that's pretty much that. Now here's a pretty good creative one. It's a picture of Tom Brady, kind of with his hand over his forehead, like, oh man. The caption is, the meme or whatever is, the moment you realize that by beating the Cowboys, you are helping the Giants make the playoffs. And sure enough, the Giants are right now 3-2 at the top of the NFC East division. So, I mean, yeah, flashbacks. The obviously the two Tom Brady and New England Patriots losses in the Super Bowl in this regime came against the New York Giants, of course. And now, I guess building off of that, the handshake with, after this game between the Patriots and the Cowboys, the 30-6 victory for the New England Patriots, Tom Brady and Tony Romo shaking hands. And Tom Brady saying, "I'd shake Tony, but all my rings may hurt your good hand."
To me, those balls are perfect.
So, I guess there's 4 rings, and that's a pretty good one, I'd say. Now, Brandon Weeden. Now apparently Matt Castle is going to be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys in this time of needing some kind of good quarterback play. So somebody, I guess, photoshopped Jerry Jones' face in place of Tony Romo throwing a football here, and Jerry Jones be like, "F it, I'm putting myself at quarterback." Moving on here. Another one here. It's a picture of Tom Brady in a press conference setting, wearing his old, his throwback winter hat, New England Patriots logo on, the old school New England Patriots logo on it. Tom, kind of a bearded Tom Brady, kind of like smiling as if he's laughing. And the words read, "The Dallas Cowboys? You mean another bye week?" Yeah, again, I mean, coming off the bye week, the Patriots beat the Cowboys 30-6, and, depleted Cowboys team. Kind of a, And furthermore, there's like a couple other memes like in the comment section here. One of them is a picture of the Hindenburg disaster, and whenever I see it, it reminds me of the cover of the album cover of Led Zeppelin 1, of course famous for songs such as Dazed and Confused and Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You and Good Times, Bad Times. But instead, the caption with this Hindenburg picture is entitled "A Live Look-In at the 2015 Dallas Cowboys Season." But I guess moving on here, getting off that. Now here's a picture of a couple years ago, actually. Bruce Jenner, who of course is now Caitlyn Jenner, and Miley Cyrus. I guess pictures from, a few years ago. And I guess a more like normal looking Miley, I guess if that's what you want to call it. I mean, Miley Cyrus with like longer hair, kind of in a nice dress. I mean, I don't know. I guess more conventional. I don't know how to politically correctly describe that, I guess. I don't know. And of course, Bruce Jenner when he was still a man. The caption is, "The last time Aaron Rodgers threw 2 interceptions at Lambeau Field, Bruce Jenner and Miley Cyrus looked like this."
Oh my God!
So, I guess, just goes to show you how long ago when he threw an interception at Lambeau Field well, actually, this is specifically threw 2 interceptions at Lambeau Field, actually, and it was actually Week 7 of the 2010 season. So forget the 1 interception thing. I guess I gotta, make sure of this here. This is 2010 we're talking. And of course that was the season that the Packers went on to win the Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers got his first ring. So forget the 1 interception thing. This is the last time he threw 2 interceptions, and yeah, again a pretty conventional looking Miley Cyrus, I guess. A better looking Miley Cyrus. I mean, I don't know if you want to go by, I guess, just personal taste on how women look. I mean, but I guess we're not going to go off into it. The bottom line is Aaron Rodgers, it's been 5 years since he's thrown 2 interceptions at home. Just goes to show you, we'll look at it that way, how good Aaron Rodgers is.
5 letters here. RELAX.
So we can relax and move on.
Relax. We're going to be okay.
All right. Moving on. Apparently, I don't know who saw this. I noticed this when I was watching the Eagles game. And the scores at the bottom of, they show the scores. Chicago early on in the game versus Kansas City. I noticed this. At one point they had, it was Chicago 0 and Kansas City 1. And I'm thinking, well, that's obviously anybody who has a decent amount of, not even anybody who's been watching football, who's fairly familiar with the game, knows that's pretty darn impossible. That you have a score of 1-0 in a football game, but anyhow, it shows this in this meme here, and it says, "Looks like the Royals have taken a 1-1 lead, 1-run lead versus the Cubs in the 3rd inning." I guess to kind of put a joke on that. Yeah, I guess that's the, obviously talking about baseball there. Now here's one of these shots that Pete Carroll was talking about. It's apparently it's in, like, I guess the locker room either before the game starts or at halftime. It's Pete Carroll I guess in the locker room or something with, talking to two NFL referees. And I guess Pete Carroll supposedly saying, all right, guys, same thing as usual. I'll get you the checks post-game. Now, I guess, taking a shot at, last week, sort of, in that controversial ending with the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions once again. There's been a couple of, obviously going back to 2012 on Monday Night Football, there was the same thing, sort of with that Hail Mary play against the Packers. So, now, kind of piggybacking off that, here's like a 3-part meme. On the left, Odell Beckham punches opposing player in the head. He gets a $9,000 fine. Middle, Jarvis Landry curses at an official, $24,000 fine. And right, ref blows call that determines game and no punishment. So there you go. There's another shot at the referees.
Oh my God, that is funny!
That's kind of starting to go back to last week. Well, here's one that was leading up to the Thursday night game. Of course, with the division rivals, the Colts and the Texans. I don't know for those who were hyped up about this game or not, but nothing says Thursday night football like a Matt Hasselbeck versus Ryan Mallett matchup. So hyped.
Oh my God!
And I don't know who tuned in that game, but I don't know. It's probably not the most pizzazz of a Thursday night football game out there. So here's another one. Of course, the Packers sit atop the NFC North 5-0. Picture of Aaron Rodgers at the top. That moment you realize the Packers have more wins than the entire rest of their division combined. It shows
Five letters
pictures.
here.
Let's see.
R-E-L.
Jay Cutler kind of with his head down at the bottom.
Relax. We're going to be okay.
Of course, Matthew Stafford in the middle at the bottom with his hands kind of up like, I don't know, he's not ready for a snap or something. And Teddy Bridgewater kind of looking around as if he looking at a screen or just kind of disappointed or something. And yeah, only, it's 5 weeks in. The Bears, they got their second win of the season. They're 2-0. Lions still winless and have decided to bench Matthew Stafford. And the Vikings, I believe, at 2 wins right now as well, if I'm not mistaken. They had a bye week this week. But still, the Packers have 5 wins. So they have, but let me, just to make sure, I think the Vikings have 2 wins, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Yeah, they're 2-2 right now. So yeah, they have more wins than everybody in the division right now at 5-0. Now that's bound to change, but you get the idea here. At least so far, the bottom line is the Packers essentially have a commanding lead over the NFC North right now. That's the bottom line. And Aaron Rodgers didn't even have a great game. He didn't have a typical Aaron Rodgers game when he threw 2 interceptions, and they still beat the Rams easily. So that's pretty much that. And that's pretty much that on this week in NFL memes. So we'll close this edition down of the Tyler Werner Show around the NFL, things going on, and certainly it was another eventful week in the NFL. A lot of close, interesting games, and fortunately the Eagles were able to be one of the teams this week that beat a team convincingly, which has yet to happen this season. So we move forward to the New York Giants. Obviously a big game, should be interesting. and we'll just continue to, I guess, take it 1 week at a time here with this NFL season, with the Eagles especially, because I just don't. There's no other way really we can evaluate them right now. When sometimes it's up and down with Sam Bradford and the running. I mean, it's hard to really rely on this Eagles team yet, and to come into a game certain that they're going to win, really. And there are a lot of teams like that in the NFL right now, but the Eagles, they haven't been able to obviously start off the season as well as they would have liked to, but this is a chance for the Eagles to get the ball rolling a little more, building off of that Saints victory of 39-17, and maybe get their first division win this week. We'll talk about all that right here in the Tyler Werner Show, as always. So stay tuned for future programming right here on the Tyler Werner Show YouTube channel and Facebook page.
It's no big news flash that many people, you included, eat as a way to medicate themselves. You can choose to worry about it or not. You can choose to panic about your situation or not. It's clear what you must do in order to make important changes.
5 letters here. RELAX. Relax. We're going to be okay.
In order for you ever to effectively figure out and map how to get to where you want to go, you have to first know exactly where you are starting.
RELAX. Relax.
You have to be willing to change what you're doing. You can change your behavior.
#1 box office attraction, #1 WWE superstar, multi-time WWE champion, Brock Lesnar.
Time to revamp your office space, eh? Looking for an interior decorator? Look no further than Brock Lesnar.
Now that's the way a real man uses a sledgehammer.
Out with the old, in with the new. Give Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman a call.
Mr. Lesnar, you're the future of the interior decorator. Ellie, we're done.
Attention parents. Is your under 18-year-old daughter being cyber-stalked by a man who identifies themselves as a grown adult male?
I want to meet you and fool around. Are you up to meeting tonight, hon? I think I would like to shower with you. We can do it in the shower, too.
If so, you need to contact Chris Hansen and Company to bust these online cyber-stalkers.
How are you tonight? Why don't you have a seat there and get comfortable for that? I guess you're going to tell me next that this is the very first time you've done something like this.
Chris Hansen and the Dateline crew will take care of it. Contact us, and we will put an end to the cyber stalking that your daughter is experiencing.
Well, there's something you got to know. I am Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on computer predators.
Busted!